This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news, and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Georgia Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Announcer, and thank you for tuning into the Georgia Farm Monitor, your weekly source for everything and anything related to Georgia agriculture. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Bergamy. As we've been doing for 51 years, we have a great show for you today. With summertime upon us, hopefully that garden of yours is producing some fine vegetables. Coming up, Ray and Marcia head to the kitchen to stuff some peppers and to show you how to make a blueberry biscuit that'll complement any meal. Also on the program, see what makes this Georgia digital imaging service different from the rest and the valuable service they provide to farmers throughout the state.
And then later, a Georgia icon, the Peanut Farmer mural in Colquitt, Georgia. We'll hear from the artist behind the mural on what it took to make this amazing creation come to life and why Georgia now has a special place in his heart. These stories and so much more starting right now on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
While Florida might be known as the citrus state, they aren't the only ones in the South growing high-quality oranges, lemons, and grapefruits. That's because over the past few years, interest has really picked up right here in Georgia, and one county in particular is hoping to lead the way. Damon Jones has the story.
When you think of citrus fruits, Florida and California immediately come to mind, as they account for more than 95% of the total production in the United States. However, it's a market a growing number of farmers here in South Georgia are looking to tap into.
Well, the citrus industry in Georgia is exponentially exploding. The number of trees last year we went from 20-something thousand trees in the ground to 30-something thousand trees, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that is an exponential explosion. And up until last year, the public really didn't know that citrus grew well in Georgia.
And Mitchell County is on the forefront as they planted a test plot right next to their extension office that grows some of the newest varieties the University of Georgia has to offer. The orchard, which is named Mitco Grow, came together thanks to the help of many in the surrounding area.
This was a project that the community came together. We had sponsors that's on the board behind us that participated and contributed to the project, everything from the trees to fertilizer to the services that were rendered to an irrigation monitor.
And some of those services are provided by inmates from the Mitchell County Jail as they tend to the land and even get to enjoy some of the fruits of their labor.
Many of the guys, the fruit that come here will be serving to the inmates during their meals. So again, we're winning at the county farm, prison farm here, because the fruit can be served to the inmates to eat. And so anytime they can grow something, a garden or orchard or anything, they like to get involved in that.
Part of the reason for its growing popularity is that it doesn't take a farming background to get started.
Citrus is something that potentially could bring back the family farms. You know, 100 trees, that's not many. A family can maintain that. You know, a young couple can maintain it. You don't have to have experience to grow citrus. You don't have to be a farmer.
In fact, all it really takes is patience and good growing conditions. And there's plenty of the latter right here in the state.
Citrus is not like a lot of other things where it doesn't like wet feet. So you need that. You need good trees, we've got that. And you need a wind protection. If you look at the back of this plot, there are trees planted to protect from the wind.
In the future, Lindy hopes to bring a processing facility to the county, which would help validate Georgia as a real player in the citrus growing business.
I call it the citrus belt, the southern part of the state. We have a golden egg opportunity here to grow a new commodity and turning it into something that's good to eat, good to grow, good to sell to others.
Reporting from Mitchell County, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Damon, thank you very much. Well, as we all know, farmers depend on accurate and timely data to ensure crops grow to their full potential. In Tift County, one former military intelligence officer is using techniques and strategies that are used on the battlefields to help farmers fight diseases and pests on their fields. Mark Wallman has the report.
In Tifton, Herb Merriman may look like just another pilot doing a pre-flight inspection on his airplane. but he is gearing up to fly over fields and take important imagery to help farmers manage their crops. He and his business partner, Scott Tennant, who is located in Colquitt, operate a franchise for Air Scout called Air Scout Southeast. And the company uses some of the same strategies that are used in the military to help farmers become more efficient and profitable.
Timeliness is the key. When there's insect problems, disease problems, irrigation issues, we're concerned about the plant health, getting that information in a timely manner and acting on it is critical for the outcome for the grower.
Air Scout planes are outfitted with cameras mounted in the luggage compartment and connected to mobile devices in the plane. Pilots take off, fly over the fields, and can give farmers and crop consultants up-to-date images in less than 24 hours.
Just like in the military, as soon as you can identify something and either take action, the sooner you can move on to the next problem area or set of priorities that you have to work on. One thing that the Air Scout it's not a replacement for the Scout. It's used to help the Scout to be more efficient in his or her job.
Aerial photos are nothing new to agriculture, but Herb feels Air Scout brings much more to farming than what a satellite image can offer, and Air Scout is the only company providing this type of service in the Southeast.
The customer receives 3 images. He receives a digital image, and he receives a thermal image, and the thermal image helps to find any type of insect pressure or disease. The third image is a Air Scout proprietary software called Advanced Digital Vegetation Index. ADVI will help you to see any nitrogen deficiencies that may be occurring in your field, and also has the capability to see things in bare soil.
After a lengthy career as a military airborne intelligence officer, Merriman finds great satisfaction in being able to help farmers feed the nation.
We image produce, all types of produce, specialty crops, pecans, and also your standard row crops as well.
Along with photographs, Air Scout offers an app, and they also offer an unmanned aircraft so farmers can pinpoint issues in their fields.
And with this, you can check, make sure the field is lined up properly, which processors usually do a great job of aligning it. So now you have your iPad, you're at the field, and now it shows your position. If you were standing here, it would show a blue GPS icon. And now you can walk to the exact place in the field to ground truth any abnormalities you see on the thermal.
You can contact Air Scout at airscout.se.us@gmail.com. Another way technology is helping farmers. Reporting from Tift County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Stuffed peppers, anyone? Yes, they are a chef's dream dish. Meat, beans, sauces, fill them with anything you like. Meals from the field, that is next when the Georgia Farm Monitor continues.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Wallace, and this year I'm serving as the Georgia FFA North Region State Vice President. I am from the Cambridge FFA chapter in Fulton County. I grew up in Alpharetta, Georgia, so it's a very urban area, and I was introduced to agricultural education and FFA during my junior year of high school when the program began at my high school. So compared to most people, I have a very limited amount of time in FFA, but during my time as a member, it's really opened my eyes to the agriculture industry and just how important it is, whether you live on a farm or in the city. This coming year, I will begin school at the University of Georgia. I plan to double major in agricultural education and agricultural communications. And I want to stay at UGA, get my bachelor's and master's, and then I want to move on to teaching. And my dream truly is to bring agriculture to urban areas. I would love to start an agricultural education program in the city of Atlanta and truly show people that even if you live in Atlanta, agriculture impacts you and you can become involved in it and truly show everyone around you how important it is.
To learn more about the National FFA organization, log on to ffa.org.
All right, the monitor continues. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Meals from the Field. Joining me, as always, my partner in crime, our home economist specialist, Marcia Crowley. Good to see you again. And of course, June 21st officially kicked off the start of summer. Summertime means many hours spent in the backyard garden. Pretty much everybody has peppers and all kinds of cucumbers and tomatoes in the garden.
Yeah.
So this month we figured, why not? Let's go ahead and do something and do some recipes involving your backyard garden.
Yeah, and if you don't, they're cheap. They're at the farmer's market. They're in plentiful supply. So
let's start with my favorite, stuffed peppers. I love stuffed peppers.
I love
now, normally,
stuffed peppers.
I don't have the time to kind of fix them, so I get the
But they're
frozen ones.
easy.
Yeah, I always get the frozen ones.
Nah,
but today,
these are
this is
much better.
homemade, so talk
You
what we
know,
got.
these stuffed peppers started back in the Great Depression.
Wow, okay.
Because they were cheap, they were plentiful. Most everybody had them in their garden. So, all right, the first thing you do is these have been pre-baked. You clean them out, cut off the tops, and turn them upside down and put them on a baking sheet for about 10 or 15 minutes so they kind of soften up a little bit.
That's what I don't do.
That's what you don't do. It makes
so
a big difference.
you actually bake the peppers a little bit.
And you can actually stuff these with anything that you want. We're doing kind of a Mexican theme.
Okay.
All right, you're going to layer black beans. If you don't like black beans, leave them out. Use another kind of bean. Just kind of layer the black beans in there. Whoops, we lost one. Then this is a pound of ground beef, which I've cooked, obviously, and it's got a Vidalia onion in there, and cumin, salt and pepper, whatever spices you like. You don't have to make it spicy.
Okay.
I'm going to layer the ground beef. And I'm just going to do one because they all look the same, right? All right, then you're going to layer some cooked rice, and this is really good if you, I always have leftover rice. I always make way too much. So a little bit of cooked rice. And this helps stretch it a little bit too.
And keep it together.
And keep it together.
It's a little starchy, you know.
Okay, and then
we put the blueberries on top, right?
Right. Then this is pepper jack cheese, but I've made it with cheddar cheese.
Okay.
So it's very easy. You just put a little bit of that on there, and then you're going to put these back in the oven for about 15 minutes to meld the flavors together.
All right.
Okay.
And that's it?
That's it. It's
Wow,
so easy.
okay.
Like I said, you could make an Italian version. You could use Italian sausage. You could use pepperoni, whatever you want. If you're going to do the Italian, I would use a little bit of macaroni, cooked macaroni in there to kind of hold it
pasta
together.
action in there. There you see the finished product. Oh, the cheese nice and melted over everything. Okay, what's the next?
All right, the next
Looks like
thing,
a
and this
vegetable
is a
salad?
real southern cucumber and tomato salad.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody knows that. So this is just cucumber, Vidalia onion, and a tomato. This is olive oil and balsamic vinegar. There's a little bit of fresh basil in there. Just pour that on there. Like I said, this is one of my favorites. A little salt and pepper.
You really can't mess this up either.
You cannot mess this up, no. And if you don't like balsamic vinegar, it's got a little bit stronger flavor than cider vinegar. Use that.
Okay.
All right, and this is always a hit, very refreshing. All right, let's move that over here. Like I said, that's probably more of a southern salad then.
And then time for dessert. I mentioned the blueberries. This is actually what the blueberries are for.
Yeah. This is a blueberry corn muffin, which is kind of different. All right, this is a cup of flour, 3/4 of a cup of cornmeal, white or yellow, whatever you prefer, a 1/4 of a cup of sugar, baking powder, and salt. And then you're going to stir, this is a 1.5 cups of Georgia blueberries. You're going to stir those in that dry mixture to kind of coat it so they don't explode too much when you put them in the muffin tin.
So do the blueberries first before you put the egg and stuff in. Okay.
Yeah, all right. And then we're going to add to that this mixture, which is a 1/2 cup of buttermilk, a 1/2 cup of butter, and 1 egg. And you're just going to moisten that, really. And these are really good. They're not too sweet. So this would be a complete meal for you using all Georgia products. If you don't have any meal ideas this evening, which I always have a hard time coming up with something different at home, and So I always appreciate somebody's new idea. You're going to fill these, the muffin tins, paper lined if you like or not, like 2/3 of a way full, and bake them for 20 minutes at 425.
And
like
you
I
always
said,
take the easy route. You've said it many, many times. You don't care about fancy muffin tins. Just get the
just get it done. Get the job done.
get
you
the
know?
stuff done, and we've got the finished product over here.
And
look,
those would
these
freeze
are cute too.
very well. They'd freeze very well. They're good for breakfast, even though they've got the cornmeal in there. Great for dinner.
And you could also put, I guess, cranberries in there.
Yeah,
you can
could
mix
put-
and match
yeah,
if you
or
want.
strawberries,
Yeah.
you know,
Very,
a
very
cup and a
nice.
half of Georgia fruit. Peaches would probably be good in there.
See, we've got 3 recipes in there this week, or this month.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 recipes, and look how quick we get everything done.
We're so good. But, you know, I do believe the peppers would freeze well.
Right.
I have not, honestly have not tried that, but everything in there freezes. So I can't imagine that it would not freeze if you want to make them ahead.
All right, and folks, once again, if you'd like to try this at home yourself, you can do that by logging on to gfb.org/recipes. Everything is there for you in detail, thanks to Marcia. She always sends those recipes to us every month.
We try.
We get a lot of good responses from people, so
Good.
we can't thank you enough.
I'm glad.
Marcia, good to see
Thank
you again.
Happy summer.
Happy summer to you, and folks, we will see you again next month.
Ray and Marcia, thank you so much. When we come back, the Monitor goes one-on-one with the man behind the famous peanut farmer mural in Colquitt, Georgia. Artist Charlie Johnston on the preparation and inspiration for his incredible masterpiece. Stay tuned.
Call it a literal benchmark of service. Here, braced 2x4s with some carefully placed nuts and bolts become resting spots. These young builders are Scott County 4-H'ers, putting together benches, more than 100 wooden seats that will go in nursing homes, parks, and on school grounds. Each bench takes about half an hour, but Will King says it's still important to put in the time.
Because it's giving back to the community and it's really helping students, like if they don't want to sit down, like walk or anything, they can sit down and like talk to their friends and all that.
Now that you have the legs pretty much laid out the way that you want them, you're going to take some screws. You're going to put 2 on either side.
4-H agent Cassie Young leads the construction effort, demonstrating what to do, but then turning it over to the kids.
Teaching kids how to use their hands and how to really make something and be proud of their accomplishments, to look back at the end of the day and see what all they've done.
Young says 4-H'ers learn the importance of service and some handy skills as well.
Just learning how to use a tape measure and a carpenter's square, and they always look at the carpenter pencil a little funny because it's not round like they're used to seeing in school, but just exposing them to new skills and abilities has been a pretty great experience.
This call for community action went out across Tennessee and the country, part of the National 4-H Day of Service. 4-H leaders teach there are 5 steps in community service: preparation, action, reflection, celebration, and future plans. The group isn't done. Now they're talking trash, or rather picking it up. They cleaned up bags and bags of unsightly litter.
Because it really helps the community, and like we need to pick up the trash because it's like really bound down the highways.
You know, they are going to be the keepers of Scott County for the future, and so if they learn these traits now and they learn these characteristics or have these characteristics now, then we'll have a solid foundation.
So whether it was creating something new or taking something away, it was a full day of service for these 4-H'ers. And what we're also building here is a stronger future for a community, a generation with an enthusiasm to help. This is Charles Denny reporting.
Well, finally today, we end the show in Colquitt, Georgia. Population just over 1,900, yet it's famous for being home to the country's largest mural.
Yeah, Kenny, at just over 27,000 square feet, The Peanut Farmer is the masterpiece of Canadian artist Charlie Johnston. After months of searching and with the help of modern technology, the Monitor caught up with Johnston at an art show in Canada where he told us about what it took to make his incredible creation come to life.
At the very beginning, it speaks to it speaks to the function of the structure itself. It's an operating peanut silo. So right away it speaks directly to what that building's, the reason for that building's existence, and it speaks to the the community itself. And I mean, there was always going to be a farming theme for the mural, so it just seemed to be the most natural. And I wanted to get that. I really wanted you to be taken away by I believe in the beauty of the grand gesture, especially when it comes to monumental works and public art. I love the grand gesture. So in this case, I wanted you to feel, as the viewer, I wanted you to feel like you were like an ant looking up, and the grand gesture was the hands of the farmer swooping down and pulling up his plants to examine his crop. So you really got a really intimate look at the experience. It's to the date, it's still the largest piece of work I've ever done. One of the most intense experiences. It's right up there. It's right up there. It may very well be #1. I washed the silos. Hadn't been cleaned in like nearly 100 years, or 80 years, or whatever it was. So I cleaned the silos. I cleaned all the mold off of them, and in fact, I was getting lots of offers for work to go all around the district and clean other people's silos. Could have been my new career. So cleaning the silos and priming, this patching the old silos, which by the way were handmade. So 80 feet in the air, you see somebody's handprint in the cement, or they were doing some patching when it was made. So all that work, and it was a lot of work. That took me a month alone just to wash, patch, and prime the structure. And then what I had done was I had built a small model of the silos, because it's really like it's a sculpture as well as a painting, really, because it's those four cylinders. It's a round. It's in an interesting shape. So I painted the design on a little model that I made of the building to really understand how my idea was going to fit on the structure. And then I translated everything I did on the little model. I basically did amped up on the building itself. And then when I got into the detailing of it, then it's a whole new ball game. I really had to get right inside a peanut plant. I went out in the fields, and I literally pulled up peanut plants myself to get a sense of the experience. And I had peanut plants on my boom truck bucket that I was using as references. I was basically doing peanut portraits. I had a whole collection of peanuts that I used as references for the actual peanuts in the silo. And there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on in the translation of the idea to the mural. There's always a piece of me in Colquitt because of the mural. There's always going to be a piece of me in Colquitt, and right now there's a piece of Colquitt in Canada. This is one of if you look at the mural, you'll see this exact configuration of peanuts somewhere in the mural. It's just a little study I did on. It's actually on wood.
That is going to do it for this week's edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Here's a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm. Be sure you check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and here on the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a great week.